It is Tuesday, June 4th, and the Dong Report plus the Whiff Report are both back in your lives. I'm Matt Modi, and I'm going to have 3 home run predictions for you guys to lock in today, and I'm going to have 2 MLB player props as well. I said MLB player props because they're not both strikeout props. I have 1 strikeout prop, and I actually have 1 pitcher out prop as well. So I decided to go a little bit different with the other player prop that I had aside from the home runs. But overall, 5 bangers for you guys to lock in. Before we can get into those, we got to do a recap from yesterday, which was admittedly not great. It's been a pretty tough couple day stretch here that we are on. I was able to get 2 dongs to mash on Saturday, but we haven't gotten any to hit since then. That continued yesterday, going 0 for 3, down 1.5 units. And we've really been snake bitten on our whiff report over the last couple days as well. We had a ridiculous heater. We were up like 8 units in a 5-day stretch on the whiff report. Since then, the last 3 days have been really brutal. That also continued yesterday, not getting my 1 play to cash, Tariq Skubal. I had him over 6.5 strikeouts. He only had 6. That was an L there. I also laddered it, so that's why you see the minus 1.25 units, because I had a quarter unit on a ladder play. Really rough day yesterday. On the entire season, we are still squarely trying to get out of our losses on the Dong Report, down over 16 units on the Dong Report. And unfortunately, after yesterday's losses, we are now down on the whiff report as well. We were able to get into the green, but these last couple days have now put us back in the red. Down a little bit over half a unit there, so hopefully today's plays cash get ourselves in the green there, and hopefully we have an awesome day on the Dong Report to minimize our losses on the year. If you are new to my channel, I would appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button for this specific video. If you could comment, I would appreciate it. And then check out the Dub Club if you just want all my plays texted to you for $5 a month. That's enough of that. Let's get into today's bangers, starting with the Dong Report. Starting in the Orioles versus Blue Jays game, I'm going right back to Gunnar Henderson to hit a home run, plus 375 odds at bet 365. So Gunnar was one of the players that we had yesterday to hit a home run. He did not come through for us. But if you look at his game log and specifically look at his StatCast game log, he was absolutely annihilating, crushing, pulverizing the baseball yesterday. So I'm comfortable going with him once again. You look at this Blue Jays and Orioles game, he had the hardest hit of the day yesterday. He absolutely rocked a ball. It was a double. It had 113 miles per hour velocity off the bat, which is crazy. It just didn't have the launch angle for that to be a home run, so it ended up being a double. That was the hardest hit of the game. He had another 2 hard hits yesterday as well. One of them should have been a home run. If the MLB didn't have dead baseballs, one of them would have been a home run. It had an exit velocity above 95 miles per hour, which is the sweet spot, and it had a launch angle of 26 degrees. When that happens, more often than not, it's a home run. This year, it's not because of the dead baseball, so it didn't make its way out of the ballpark. It was just a flyout. But this is all to say, he was crushing the ball yesterday. He was so close to getting a home run. And then another ball, if he had the launch angle, would have landed to the moon. So I'm pretty confident going back to him once again today. Yesterday, his average exit velocity on every single baseball he made contact with was 103.9 miles per hour. That is a really, really high, crazy hard hit rate, crazy average exit velocity. And that actually makes it 4 straight games in which Gunnar Henderson has had an average exit velocity of 95 miles per hour and above, and 5 of his last 7 as well. Now, I'm using the 95 miles per hour number because that is what constitutes a hard hit, 95 and above. That means in 4 straight games and in 5 of 7, every time he makes contact, he is averaging a hard hit. That's crazy. Obviously, all of Gunnar Henderson's power numbers are phenomenal. He's 3rd in the MLB in terms of home runs hit. Incredibly high hard hit rate, incredibly high ISO rate. All that stuff is phenomenal for Gunnar Henderson. In terms of the pitching matchup, the Blue Jays are listed to have Bowden Francis on the mound. Now, it's unclear if he's going to end up being an opener and only pitch 2 innings or maybe pitch closer to 4 or 5 innings. But regardless, based on the information that I have, he's going to at least start the game, probably get the first 2 or 3 innings. If Gunnar can just get 2 at-bats against him, I would be very confident that he would be able to dong one, because Bowden is just a horrible pitcher. And Gunnar is an awesome batter in the middle of a heater. And just because he didn't dong one yesterday definitely doesn't scare me off today. Very confident going back to him once again today as our first play. Next up, Royals versus Guardians game. I'm taking Nelson Velasquez to hit a home run, plus 420 odds. Very cool. Blaze up at Caesars. I'm guessing not many people know who Velasquez is, but he's actually been really good most of the season, and he's been especially good recently. So we're backing him in the middle of a heater, and we just have to hope that he continues to come through. He's got 5 home runs over the last 2 weeks. In that stretch, he has an ISO rate of 47.4%. That's the 5th best ISO rate in the MLB over the last 2 weeks. His barrel rate is at 26.7%, another excellent number, and that is good for the 6th best barrel rate in the MLB over the last 2 weeks. Even further than that, all of his advanced numbers are phenomenal, especially his fly ball rate. I mean, his fly ball rate is ridiculous. Over the last 2 weeks, he has a fly ball rate of 73.3%. That is by far the highest fly ball rate in the entire MLB over the last 2 weeks. And what it means is that 3/4 of the time he makes contact, he's hitting a fly ball. That is excellent when it comes to home runs, especially when you consider how hard he is hitting the baseball as well. He's hitting the ball hard. That's what ISO rate measures. He's getting really solid contact. That's what barrel rate measures. And he's hitting the ball in the air. That's what fly ball rate measures. Those three put together equals a lot of home runs. He's also a batter that you want to target against right-handed pitching, and that is what he is facing tonight. He's much better against right-handed pitching from a power perspective than lefties. His ISO rate on the year against righties is up to 21.7%. Now on the season, that's only in the great category as opposed to the excellent category. Still fine by our metrics as long as he's in the great category. And against left-handed pitching, that ISO rate is down to 16.3%. That's below average. And as I mentioned, over the last 2 weeks, he's hit 5 home runs. 4 of them have come against right-handed pitching. And if you look at his home run numbers against right-handed pitching, specifically over the last 2 weeks, phenomenal, just incredible. Fly ball rate, 72.7%, which I mentioned is amazing. Pull rate of 45.5%. That's really good. Hard hit rate also at 45.5%. Another really good number. All 3 of those batted ball statistics look phenomenal. It's going up against Tristan McKenzie of the Guardians, who is absolutely a pitcher you want to target for home runs. He allows a barrel rate of 11.4%, an average exit velocity of 90.3 miles per hour. Means he gives up solid contact and a lot of hard hits as well. And that exit velocity, that's the 13th highest average exit velocity allowed of all qualified starting pitchers. And if you look at his launch angle, which just measures the degree in which the baseball leaves the bat, is at 19.7 degrees, which might not mean anything to you. That's the 4th highest launch angle in the MLB. So Velasquez is a guy that hits the ball hard, and he hits the ball in the air. Tristan McKenzie is a pitcher that allows a lot of hard hits and for batters to hit the ball into the air. He's not a ground ball pitcher by any means. Very, very great numbers for a home run. Let's hope Velasquez comes through for us. Next up, our third and final dong pick. I'm taking Ian Happ in the White Sox versus Cubs game. Ian Happ to hit a home run, plus 560 odds at FanDuel. Ian Happ's first appearance on the Dong Report. Congratulations to him. Your medal is in the mail. In this game, the Cubs game, the best game of the day from a home run perspective, from a weather perspective for home runs of the entire slate. Just an amazing weather game for home runs. Very windy in Chicago. It's hot. It's humid. Carry is going to be good just because of the heat and the humidity. And the winds are also blowing out of the ballpark, which is also just going to help for carry. It's the highest home run increase from a weather perspective that I've seen all year. And this data is according to Ballpark Pal. So hopefully we get this one right with Ian Happ. Players that are able to hit the ball into the air are going to have a good time in this White Sox-Cubs game. And Ian Happ is someone that does that at one of the best rates on the Cubs. Now, I knew I wanted to target someone on the Cubs because the Cubs pitcher, who the White Sox are batting against, Shota Imanaga, who is an absolute stud. So I didn't really want to target a White Sox. So I targeted a Cub. And Ian Happ was the best value, the best bang for your buck of all of the Cubs batters. Over the last 2 weeks, he's got an ISO rate of 40%. He's got a barrel rate of 22.6%. Both of those numbers are awesome. They're in the excellent category, and they're top 10 in the MLB over the last 2 weeks. While all his advanced stuff looks great too, most importantly, his fly ball rate. He's got a fly ball rate of 58.1%, which in a game like this, where it's really, really good weather, fly ball rate is much more important in weather games like this. His at 58.1%, that's an awesome, awesome number. He's got a pull rate of 48.4%. That's really good for pull rate. Anything 40% and above is excellent. Anything 40% and above is acceptable. 45% and above is good to great, and 50% and above is excellent. His pull rate, 48.4%, good to go. His average exit velocity is also a pretty good number, meaning he's hitting the ball hard. 93.6 average exit velocity. That's the 18th best in the MLB over the last 2 weeks. So all in all, really, really good numbers for Ian Happ. And I like the matchup against the pitcher as well. So Ian Happ is a switch hitter, meaning when he goes up against a right-handed pitcher, he bats lefty. And that is the case tonight. Chris Flexen of the White Sox is pitching. Flexen is a right-handed pitcher, which means Happ will be batting lefty, which is good news for us because he's a much better batter when he is batting left-handed. And Flexen is much worse against left-handed hitters. All 4 home runs that Happ has hit over the last 2 weeks have come against right-handed pitching, so when he's batting left. And for Chris Flexen, he's given up 8 home runs on the year. 5 of those 8 have come to left-handed batters. And that's despite the fact that he has literally seen half the plate appearances that are left-handed batters compared to right-handed batters. So he's seen double righties compared to lefties, and he's still given up more home runs to lefties, just to kind of show you how much worse he is against left-handed hitters. So all in all, really, really good numbers for Ian Happ. And that's all we got for the Dong Report specifically. All we need is one of these guys to hit a home run, and we'll at least be green for the day. If we can get all 3 to hit a home run, that would be incredible. Would do a very, very good job getting a nice dent into our losses on the year. So let's hope for that. Now we transition to the whiff report, where I mentioned I have 2 plays for you guys, 1 strikeout prop, 1 player outs prop. Our strikeout prop is what we're going to go with first. In the Padres versus Angels game, I'm taking Patrick Sandoval under 4.5 strikeouts. This is at plus 110 odds at DraftKings. So Patrick Sandoval, he doesn't have horrible strikeout stuff or anything like that. Really what we're doing here is we're backing a Padres lineup that just simply never strikes out against left-handed pitching. Yesterday, Tyler Anderson was pitching against the Padres. He's a left-handed pitcher, and his over-under was 4.5. He had gone over that number in literally 7 straight starts. He had gone over 4.5 strikeouts. Well, yesterday, he only had 2 strikeouts, and that was even with Luis Arias out of the lineup, who is one of their best hitters in terms of not striking out, and he said he was starting. He wasn't. He ended up missing the game, and he still went up. Anderson, I'm talking about, still went under his strikeout prop by really, really decent, like a pretty good amount. Over under was 4.5, and he had 2 strikeouts. So if Arias ends up starting tonight, that would just be even better for this under. Both Props.Cash and RotoWire have Luis Arias in the lineup, but we'll have to see because he said he was starting yesterday and he didn't. So we'll have to see there regardless. This would still be a play if he is out of lineup. It would just be much better if he was in. And overall, looking at the Padres, 6 of the last 7 left-handed starting pitchers against the Padres have gone under their strikeout over-under. And that includes some decent pitchers and some pretty impressive performances from the Padres bats. Carlos Rodon had an over-under of 5.5. He only had 2 strikeouts. Then we had, Then we had Jesus Luzardo. We had Braxton Garrett. Both go under their strikeout prop as well. And those are 2 pretty decent strikeout pitchers, albeit pitchers who can be hit or miss, but they both still went under. Overall, on the entire season, the Padres have the 2nd lowest team strikeout rate against left-handed pitching at 18%. And over the last 2 weeks, they've been much, much better, striking out an incredibly low 11% of the time against lefties. That's the lowest in the MLB by a pretty decent margin, that 11% strikeout rate against lefties. And then looking at Patrick Sandoval, again, he's not a horrible strikeout pitcher than any means. He's gone over this number in 7 of 12 starts, so this is a number that he hits more often than not. But looking at his stuff, like I said, he's an average to slightly above average strikeout pitcher. He's got a strikeout rate of 23.8%. That's average. His swinging strike rate is in the 60th percentile. His called strike plus whiff rate is in the 65th percentile. So he's fine, slightly above average. Definitely nothing special. And you need to be special to get a lot of strikeouts against the Padres. So I love fading him here, going with his under. And then next up, our final pick in general of the video, Braves versus White Sox game. I'm taking Max Fried over 18.5 outs plus 155 odds at Bet365. So I really wanted to back Max Fried here, but his strikeout prop was kind of ridiculous, so I avoided that. Decided to go with the outs instead. Now the risk here is the over 18.5 as opposed to over 17.5, right? Taking over 18.5 means that Max Fried needs to get at least 1 out in the 7th inning, as opposed to just ending with 6 innings pitched. But Fried has been so good this year, and the Red Sox offense really can't hit lefties, that I'm pretty comfortable with the added risk of taking him over 18.5, especially when you consider the fact that we're getting plus 155 odds, which is pretty juicy. And looking at Max Fried, as I mentioned, he has been awesome this year. He's gone over 18.5 outs in 6 of his 11 starts this season. So even the fact that we're getting it for plus 155 odds, he's hit it more often than not. He's also done it in 2 straight games. He's done it in 4 of his last 5 and in 5 of his last 7 as well. Normally, I want to fade those results, but because of how good he's been and because of the matchup, and I'm comfortable riding with it despite the fact that he's been so good, because the 18.5 number is a key number and it is a risk. That's why we're getting the plus 155 odds. But looking at Max Fried's stats, he's awesome. His ERA is 2.97, and nothing about his advanced stats, his expected stats, show that he's getting lucky to have that type of ERA. Everything looks phenomenal. His expected ERA, 3.24. His FIP, 3.33. XFIP, 3.29. Awesome numbers. He allows a very low barrel rate of 4.3%. That's the 4th lowest barrel rate allowed in the MLB. A very low hard hit rate of 28.6%. That is literally the lowest hard hit rate in the entire MLB. And what I love about Max Fried is the Braves will let him accrue a decent amount of pitches, which is not what you see with a lot of pitchers these days. He can handle throwing 100+ pitches. So his first start of the year, he got rocked by the Phillies. He only threw like 43 pitches. You take that out, in the 10 starts since the first one, which that was all the way in March, he has thrown an average of 98 pitches, and he has gone over 100 pitches in 5 of his last 6 starts. So they'll let him throw deep into games to save their bullpen. And this isn't like they're going up, or like Fried is going up against a good offense either. It's going up against the Red Sox offense who stinks against lefties. Over the last 2 weeks, the Red Sox have the 3rd lowest WRC plus against left-handed pitching, the 3rd lowest WOBA, 3rd lowest WRAA, weighted runs above average, 3rd lowest OPS, 3rd lowest average. They're basically the 3rd worst offense against left-handed pitching over the last 2 weeks. So there are not a lot of reasons to believe that the Red Sox will be able to get to Fried and pull him early. So I think this is a really good play at plus 155 odds. And that's all we got. 3 home run props for you guys to lock in. 2 whiff plays, 2 MLB pitcher props to lock in as well. Let's hope we have a much better day than yesterday. Get ourselves a day in the green in both of these categories. Remember to like the video, comment, subscribe. Check out the Dub Club if you are interested. I appreciate everybody for watching, and have a good one.